And it's halftime. Assuming the
Halftime.
Packers covered the first half spread, or did we get a first half push? Probably a push, maybe. That close 8? Probably close 4?
You know what, buddy?
Probably.
That's a hell of a question. I know the Packers got some steam. Most of the market was 4.5.
Ooh.
So I'm guessing if you bet this a couple days ago,
maybe you
you
got
might
a 4.
maybe you got a 4, but no. Are the Rams squirrely, or is the Packers defense kind of shitty? It seems like little column A, little column B, because it's hard. It's hard for me to give Baker Mayfield a ton of credit. He's scrambling okay.
He's had how many turnover-worthy plays, man?
I mean, both of them though. Both of these teams are bad.
Yeah, I'm not saying that the Packers are. Yeah, no, I'm not giving the Packers much credit, but I mean the Rams. This feels like this could have gotten away from the Rams in a hurrah. I think if you had Packers -4, you're probably like, how does my team only have 10 points in this one? Packers had 200 yards of offense. Some of it was garbage in that last drive. Actually, they only had 165 yards of offense. It felt like more.
I don't feel like they've gotten there.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, they have a long way to go here to put this game away. It's definitely not. It's definitely in the balance here a little bit. They got a little bit of a screw job, I thought, in the goal to go situation where Jalen Ramsey pretty obviously interfered with the attempt at Christian Watson. But, all pro vet, it's going to get the call over the rookie, I guess. Shouldn't be super, super surprised, I guess. I don't know.
Let's try, and I don't want to turn this into like a 10-minute conversation that we have to. He's wearing a drug rug, Watto. It's a sweater. Actually, it's a cardigan.
It's a cardigan.
Actually, it's a cardigan.
Yeah,
that's from a movie.
Yeah.
So here's the thing.
Pull over.
True or false? True. Before we pick a bet here.
Yeah.
Refs have always been this bad. Social media and the institution of instant replay, more cameras, more hyper focused on this has just brought it to the forefront. Like refs were always this bad.
Refs were always this bad for the most part.
It's just Twitter sucked for and I get it. Like I didn't have a Washington bet. In fact, I was very much cheering against overtime for fantasy reasons. But if you had a Washington bet, you have a gripe. But this happens 100 times a year in all the sports. Everyone has a gripe.
I have a nuanced take. I have a nuanced take on both things. My nuanced take on the refs is they have always been bad and inconsistent.
We've always been at war with Oceania.
And there's never been more ability to kind of critique them because of social media.
Yeah, motherfucker, right? We didn't have a spider cam in 1994.
No. So there
was no cams in the pylons. That's the thing. And not only that, hey, you guys with your 4K TVs, which God, I mean, this shit is so crisp.
Yeah.
And 4Ks are getting dude, we were watching that on a goddamn 26-inch Zenith.
Yeah.
People in the early 90s, there was people that still had I have a black and white in the den. You couldn't tell if that was a fumble or not. You just kind of went with it.
Yeah. So part one is you have more ability to assess their performance. So it feels like they're worse. Part two is the NFL and the front office bear some responsibility for making the game more and more complicated to referee, and not in a good way. They just continue to put more on their plate about trying to be able to pick away at the nuances of the game in real time. With freaking athletes who get faster and bigger every year. The third thing I will add, though, the refs are worse because there was a big old turnover in experienced refs, and they brought in a whole bunch of new ones about 2-3 seasons ago. And in the first season,
this yesterday, we didn't know who that ref was.
Yeah, right. But in the first season with all the new refs, it was actually good because they were all like everybody was a little flag shy, right? They were all a little let them play a little bit. And then they get note after note after note of you need to emphasize these rules. You need to, this is the mistake you made. This is the mistake you made. And they got nitpicked to death to where last year, I thought the refereeing was just horrific across the board. Do you remember the Thanksgiving game between the Cowboys and the Raiders? That was one of the most poorly ref games I've ever seen in my life. And there was lots of those last year that were just high profile, shit shows. This year it's been a little bit better, but not a lot. And then, of course, we have a bunch of really close games and people can really scrutinize some of the decisions.
That's the thing. Like if that was the old joke about like, and that's a 3-pointer and that pulls them within 32. If that's a garbage,
Right.
if that garbage touchdowns, people give less.
Because no one can come back from 32.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, that's funny. That's funny. I didn't do that. All right, so back to this game. The Rams only have 95 total yards, but the Packers haven't been like. Is that kind of a case that like this is just more under? It's 20. It's a -120 under 20, but like
I don't think.
We think we see more scoring. You think the offense gets better? Like
no, I think that's a fair price though.
Great. It's probably pretty good. These numbers for the second half are very good. Again, this is the point of the year where
can we find a fun other thing to bet?
Yeah, if we weren't doing this, we would probably not be betting the second half because, truthfully, and really, it took Green Bay, and it was a good call. It was the double combo of you were right to go for it on fourth down, and you called a good play.
That was a double whammy. Yes, awesome.
Yeah, those two things don't happen all that often in this league. Mm. That was great, but that's what it took to get
especially
Green
with
Bay.
Matt LaFleur involved.
Yeah, exactly, and he still doesn't know how to use timeouts right. But that's what it took to get anyone in the end zone too. So I mean, the true bet is pass here, but we'll find something like just go on Bovada. They have a million things like.
Let's pick something fun, like next score field goal.
How about second half higher? Both halves the same, 16-1 scoring.
Can we get a third quarter under? Because the Rams are very inclined to run out the clock, and they get the ball first, right? The Packers get the ball first.
Third quarter is under 7.5 minus.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Let's do that. Spendy, but yeah, let's just
do
go.
That. Packers get one. Packers get a touchdown in the third quarter and no other scores.
Okay, under 7.5. Dan,
that sounds fun.
Minus 135.
That's a fun, weird way to play this.
Play it.
Okay, so here's my other nuanced take. You ready for this? This goes directly back to the Commandos game. He didn't okay or thumbs up or say you're good.
No, there is set
to McLaurin. He didn't though. He was pointing at the line. He didn't go to the line, and so he flagged him. I think that was very straightforward. I think much more was made of it because of some high-profile accounts that just spammed that all over. That this was a blown play.
I don't like getting on Twitter and arguing with people like that about shit like that because there's no winning. Hey, they probably had a Washington ticket, or God forsake, they had like who ran that in. The one they called back, Gibbs.
It was Robinson.
Yeah, they had Robinson in fantasy, or they had him anytime touchdown score, and they're mad. They're not gonna be reasonable, but I didn't know enough about this, truthfully, but I mean, I learned a lot in the last 2 days from all the shit posted on Twitter. It feels like 2 days. It's only been like 22 hours. But I mean, they said, there's set hand signal. He's never going to give you a fucking thumbs up. He's never going to yell at you. He's going to point at the tackle is uncovered.
Yes. Yeah. He pointed at the line. McLaurin didn't move up enough.
As soon as the ball snapped, he threw the flag. And I guess
the two options are he pointed at the line. McLaurin didn't move enough. He threw the flag. He pointed at the line and said, "You're okay," and then threw the flag just to be a dick. Like, what's the more likely of those two? It's definitely the first one. Don't be stupid. I don't know.
Yeah, you can use Occam's razor for most anything that happens to the Commanders. Like, hey, is it a league-wide conspiracy? Or is Daniel Snyder just a horrible person? Like, one of those kind of checks out. So. And yes, the games are rigged crowd is rough. So, and again, a nuanced take would be if I found out there were a ref that point shaved.
Yes.
I think and maybe I'd like a counterpoint to this. The easiest way to fix a game, if you were a big mob syndicate and you had a shitload of money, would be a total, because
Yes.
I think it's going to be less apparent that you're like picking on one team. The refs is just like it's like an ump with a wide strike zone. It's like he's given both teams that, and people aren't as mad about it. But just a ref who gets real aggressive with pass interference if they you wanted an over, or real aggressive with holding calls.
Yeah.
If you like, oh hey, there's a 70-yard run. It's coming back. Yeah. It's coming back. So
sure.
I'm not saying this could never happen. I don't think it is happening, but I mean, it's not far-fetched. But the people who are like, I mean, you're reading tweets. It's like, oh, Vegas had way too many live bets on this one team because of the quarterback got hurt. Like, oh, they had to push the BW3 button.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Those kill me.
You know what? If I had a mob syndicate with power and ability to fix games, you know what I would do? I wouldn't fuck with the NFL at all. There's a lot more games you can fuck with in other sports. Like the NFL is the least likely to be fixed, honestly. And honestly, there's so many refs. You get the reviews are not kind. Your job is not. It's if you're gonna fix, you're gonna do what Donaghy did. You're gonna fix the NBA, and you're gonna do it.
I will push back a little on that. So there's so much money in the markets though. Because how do they catch match fixers in tennis, Drew? It's not usually, oh, they played so bad against a good player. It's usually, hey, this was a low to mid-level tennis match.
Yes.
And three accounts.
And the handle was several $1 million.
Yeah, 3 accounts in Estonia bet the underdog for like 70 times what this guy has ever taken in a match. That's how you catch these match fixers. But with football, like, really big bets on one side or the other, they're not going to get noticed like that. So
right, and honestly, you're not either. It's not a guarantee. It's not.
What's the easiest sport for a ref to rig? You know what the easiest sport to like buy someone off and rig would be?
It's like lower league soccer.
Esports, man.
Okay, sure.
Oh, my finger slipped. Like I think boxing judges, but we have literally bet on a rigged soccer match, Drew. Remember that with the first half corners.
I'll never forget that. Yeah.
Legit, that defender just started like he could have easily just cleared it to the side for a throw in, and there was a couple. It's like, corner. Like,
it was first half corners over 3.5, and there were 0 through 25 or 30 minutes, and we were like, man, what the fuck? We got had. What the fuck? And then literally it was just bang, 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 bang. Oh, same guy kicked it out of bounds. Like,
it was like the same.
It was like, oh, okay.
And then there was one other one that for sure I remember was an over in Mexican baseball. You remember that? The person who brought us that is
yes, I do.
Hey, guess how much it costs to buy a
I do remember
a Mexican ump.
I couldn't get anything down on that, but
it was we could each bet like $100, but it was still funny because that ump, I mean, the same thing, that ump went full strike, tight ass strike zone, and all of a sudden it's like 17-9.
Cricket, like, we have a record-setting number of walks.
Honestly, the bowl games are a decent target. Sure. That's a pretty good take home.
But you know what you do though? If you're fixing games, if you have a ref on the take, you do what the Donaghy scandal was all about, which is you hit volume and
just get information from him.
Yeah, information and volume. Well, Andy. That was not an information play at all. They were part of it was. No, they were influencing. Part of it was. It was for sure. It was for sure, but at the same time, he was still feeding info, and that was helping. I'm sure that's true too. But realistically, it was you don't take your chances on one or two. You try to do it with volume, and you just if you're betting the NBA closing sides and you're hitting it for limits, then you want to hit 60% over a season and act like it was just solid handicapping. You don't want to hit 100%, and then you got to make it look realistic. I think. I don't know.
What was his tweets? I think he tweets what he's told. He tweets what information.
That was very explainable. He was getting information from the GM of OKC, who was trying to influence Chet not going to Orlando, and that's my read, at least. I don't think he had any information at all from Orlando proper. We didn't.
No, for sure. We could not get anything from them. And it's wild how, everyone knows Boris and, a couple of the other super agents that have big names, but it's crazy how much some of these agents have a lot of swing behind the scenes as far as feeding information to the media, feeding information to other teams, leaking information through other players that they represent. Like they the Bill Duffys of the world. My God. Brinson. It's like I said Beetlejuice 3 times. Right. Brinson appears. As soon as we start talking, I was getting to Bill Duffy and Brinson appears. Maybe
he knew. He knew.
So he's a legacy check mark. We're not sure.
If we would be honest with you guys, we have no skin in this. Not to be honest with you, nobody's fixing football games. It's not happening.
It'd be just so hard.
It's stupid. It's that you wouldn't even. It would be a waste of that time and effort. The real quick though about Green Bay futures. So part of the handicap, and I didn't really spell it out the way I should have when we were talking about it yesterday. But part of the handicap is this is a standalone Monday Night Football game. And then the Green Bay Packers are coming off a bye. And if they came off a bye and they blew the doors out of a shitty Rams team, which was within their own possibility, it's still within their own possibility, then the market was going to absolutely implode. And everybody was going to all of a sudden believe in this Packers team. Now it's not happening. They're not doing, the offensive line looks shaky. The defense still looks miserable. Aaron Rodgers does not look like he has a solid read on what he wants to do with the kind of running the offense. But all that said, if they came out and had like their best game of the season, then 100 to 1 to win the NFC was going to evaporate in a blink of an eye. And so that was one of the reasons I thought it was important to kind of move hard. What was the call? It was a call against the Rams.
Defensive holding.
Defensive holding. 2 guys were holding. Okay. All right. Fixed is in. Somebody's trying to blow our third quarter under. All right, that's fine. That was a fair call. No, but yeah, the idea was with a healthy set of wide receivers, with up against the Rams defense that had no Aaron Donald, like you could have realistically had a lopsided outcome in this game that was going to move futures markets on Green Bay. So this was an equity play. Yeah, go ahead.
What a question from friend of the pod,
Rico
DeGaio, who, before I read his question, I should mention Rico DeGaio was still alive in Survivor at this point, this deep into the season.
Wow.
And he had Minnesota this week.
Oh, you run like the sun god. Holy shit.
Yeah, like that's a sign. Wow. You're just like, well,
that's a sun god.
Yeah, because
4 people, I think 4 people there was a handful of people that had Commanders and used them.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ish. But anyway, hypothetically, if you had the book from Back to the Future 2,
yes.
It's called Gray's Sports Almanac. Are you going to be the better? Which is really easy. And yes, I mean, you'd have Biff's. Yeah. You'd have Biff's Casino, and you would have Leah Thompson and her new bolt-ons.
Uh-huh.
Or are you going to be a better or a bookmaker and have fun screwing with the market with wild numbers? That would be like, for sure, the answer is probably just better, so you can just get rich. But it would be fun to, after you make your fortune, open up a sports book and then just start opening I think I'm gonna, like these games where a team just gets blown out.
Like last year. Last year, you hang like Cincinnati Bengals to win the AFC is like minus 200 to start the season. People are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like I'll give you plus 150 on the other side, guys. Yeah, you open 2-way markets, just messing with people.
You can get a lot more volume that way for sure.
Yeah. Cowboys minus 37 at the
I have often thought, what would I do if I had the book from Back to the Future? Like, what would be the optimal strategy?
Oh, superfectus. It's quicker. Like you're at the horse track for the Derby.
Take it right out of the parimutuel pool.
You take it out of a parimutuel pool. Nobody's even mad at you.
You're goddamn right you do.
They're just like, and you do it where you play like $1,000 worth of them at $1 a pop, and I just happened to hit the one. I hit a pick 6 too. Oh my god.
Yeah. I think and either that or you build up a long impossible. Like you bet against the winners in impossibly weird ones and get like absolute god mode status at a legal shop.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you start running good. Right? Like you really, really, really sink your fortunes.
Oh, can you imagine just hitting like
The Magic? Holy fucking shit.
The Magic might never lose again. But can you imagine going to the track, going to like the Kentucky Derby and just like, this guy has hit 7 superfectas. Like at that point, they might be like, all right, you're going to jail, sir. Like they'd be testing every horse. Every jockey, every trainer would be like testifying before Congress.
Oh yeah, CIA would get involved. The FBI would be involved.
You'd have to be like me, and you'd have to have a beard or 2.
Yeah. I can't believe the Magic, man. These guys are. This is just. And honestly, Andy, you know what the best part about the Magic is? This is now the 3rd time with these guys. You remember the ride with the Magic coming out of the All-Star break where they were literally like every advanced metric said that team was like a top 10. The rest of the Southeast was dog shit. And there was like 20 to 1s to win the Southeast at the time. And I remember making those bets and winning those bets and be like, I'm never going to get another shot like this in my life. It comes around again with Paolo, 20 to 1 for them for number 1. And now we're getting an even bigger number. I don't understand. How is it 3 times with the same team? Fair odds for the Magic on division. Well, if they win this game,
minus 110.
We're probably in the 10 to 1 range.
I'd say 15.
There's a lot of games
standings. Left. There's so much basketball left, and anything can happen with injuries. But there's a lot of teams in their division that have more high injury risk guys than them.
But yeah, a lot of them. And Magic are getting healthier. The real upset of that game is if this holds, is that Markelle Fultz hit the game-winning shot. If it holds. Long way to go.
1-1 for me in the basketball. I faded Charleston. Apparently the market went with me. It just wasn't enough. But how about the University of Nebraska Omaha Mavericks? A home underdog to Denver? Home underdog.
That doesn't sound right.
They won by 17.
The Denver Nuggets?
How do I not know the Denver Pioneers? Oh, what a horrible name. That's a bad name. Hey, so people, I think people who maybe didn't get in on the Magic, what would be the lowest price you would need to bet them right now after this little spurt?
Let me see what happens in this game because this actually does matter.
They might call the shut off.
Yeah, shooting foul. Fuck. I don't know about that.
The Pontiacs. That's not true.
That was a soft foul.
Boy, you're still sounding like you're watching the World Cup.
Murray made 1 of 2.
Soft. Barely touched his arm. That's the thing about penalties is like, even if it's a handball, you'd be like, was his hand in a natural position?
Yeah. So I think if their 30 to 1 was available, I would still bet it.
Somebody's saying there's 70s at Barstool.
That's surprising. Well, yeah.
The answer is
I lost money.
Don't be negative and be like, all my teams did bad. Who won? Let's spin a positive.
Adam.
Well, Adam Bjorn. Oh, good. It's about time that guy got a break.
Yeah. Yeah. Adam.
To be fair, I really like Adam.
Adam had Argentina. He didn't even want him he made it out like, damn, fuck. I was trying to get the price up. And ended up being the big one.
He was the day that you didn't come to the Breeders' Cup with me. Mm-hmm. I saw him there well ahead of me.
Oh, sure.
I told you this story.
Yeah.
And it was after the final race, and I was going to say hi, but he looked like he had lost a bunch of money on the last race because he wasn't getting up and going to the window.
He didn't hit his superfecta.
Yeah, he didn't hit his. And I had just put all my money on the horse that who was in the chat. Mike Somich is still actually in the chat.
Yeah.
Mike Somich. He gave me the winner on that final one. Nick's Go. I put all my money on Nick's Go at like 3 to 1. It closed at like I think the closing odds were over 4.
I hit a bunch of winners that week. I had Echo Zulu. I had Corniche. That was when Baffert was juicing the shit out of his horses still.
Oh, the Packers got an illegal contact penalty to extend a drive.
Yeah.
They're going for it on all these fourth downs. They're nuts.
Yeah.
LaFleur.
Hey, the Calcutta was a heartbreak for sure. Morocco going as deep as they did took money out of my pocket. The Costa Rica giving up 7 goals was a 13K prize pool. There's 13K prize pool to concede the most goals, and Iran was there with 6, and Costa Rica stole it with 7.
They could have given up 10 that day.
They could have, and then Korea couldn't give up 8. They stopped at 4 for whatever reason.
Oh yeah, you had Korea too.
AJ Dillon is going to swing some fantasy football playoffs today. He's having a game. Well, we can't take any more points now.
Well, at least they used up half the quarter pert near.
That's true.
We're down at the 8-ish. So, real quick, Dan wanted us to touch on the award markets. I got to go here pretty quick.
God damn, I can't believe the Magic lost.
Sirianni, is there a situation where Sirianni loses this? Let's say Hurts' injury is worse than we think. The Vikings get the 1 seed by winning out. The Eagles look a little rough. Can he lose it from this point? Would they give it to? Because in that scenario, he's losing it to either Kevin O'Connell or maybe to kneecaps. Why can't I think of his
Dan Campbell?
I almost said Matt Campbell. Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
The Niners take the 1 seed. Maybe Shanahan. Like there's 3 or 4 names that don't make they make sense, but
KOC doesn't scare me. Shanahan does.
The Vikings would have to win out and take the 1 seed. Then he has a chip share and a chance. But Shanahan is actually someone who's viewed as a good coach.
Not only is he viewed as a good coach, but so here's the thing. Let's say Hurts doesn't start another regular season game, which seems possible, right?
Yeah.
If Sirianni loses a couple of these, he will realistically be given a pass. If Sirianni wins with Gardner Minshew in Herbst's absence, then he clinches it in freaking stone. It's over, right? So it feels, in my mind, a little asymmetrical good for Sirianni. This circumstance. The only exception is Shanny, because if Shanny can get it done with the backup quarterback and Sirianni can't, then we have a very stark contrast between those two humans. And I am saying this as someone who has equal payout on Dan Campbell and Sirianni. So I had written off Dan Campbell, but I went and looked preseason stuff I had. It was all pretty high stakes.
What about is Dennis Allen sticking his nose well into this? All right,
no,
real quick, the other one.
If Sirianni, Science Collectibles has the right narrative. If Sirianni loses with backup quarterbacks and Shanny wins with third stringer, then that could be a problem. A problemo.
All right, switching to MVP, the market didn't adjust.
Steve Lackey with a very funny comment.
Oh, I will not listen to Goff.
No Goff slander on this.
The market didn't adjust. The market went to where it should have been. Truthfully,
yes.
Okay, I don't want to get Drew all wound up because he's going to agree so hard with this. But no, Mahomes. I managed to get some plus 160. Everyone was betting Cowboys, and I'm like, oh shit! Somebody brought up Mahomes. I'm like, I should go hammer that a little. Josh Allen and Joe Burrow are still very much alive. I went over this in a chat. So the Bengals have won 6 straight. They likely win this week. And then you have this clash of, hey, Josh Allen beat the Chiefs. Josh Allen beat the Bengals, stop their 7-game winning streak. Josh Allen is your number 1 seed. He can definitely sneak back in, but that game could also work in the same thing for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow ends the year with 9 straight wins, ends up somehow in the 2 seed when they were looking up at the Ravens for 10 weeks. I definitely think both of those guys are super live to get in it. Truthfully, out of the 4, if I all things being equal, I think Hurts is 4th out of 4 right now. It's crazy. It's crazy. And we've always been on the train of, hey, he shouldn't be seriously considered right now. But it's crazy how much missing one goddamn game hurts you.
Well, that's the other thing, is that he probably misses more than one. I'm not saying
I have no idea.
I'm just saying, like, let's say he comes back and plays the Saints, right?
Yeah.
And let's say that they take care of business, beat the Saints, secure a better draft choice because of it.
Yeah,
right?
then you sit him.
They clinch the 1 seed. You're definitely not playing him against the Giants. You're not risking him re-injuring his shoulder against the Giants in a completely meaningless game. No fucking way is he playing Week 18.
Gil's reading my mind here. This is what I was about to say. If they get this shit stomped out of him and Minshew goes full like Peterman, and then it turns out it was minor. He comes back. He wins the last 2 games, looking very good. Probably not dead, but I would not rush him back. You can more than likely get the 1 seed.
That's my thought too.
You can win one of these 3 games with Gardner Minshew.
You need to win that Saints game. You have the Saints game circled in blood. The other 2, I think he sits, and he may sit all 3. But yeah, as soon as you secure the 1 seed, everybody on that roster is getting vacation, and you are keeping them in bubble wrap until that playoff game in divisional round.
I mentioned that today too. I said, when you're looking at this matchup this weekend for the Cowboys and Eagles, look at other important players who are like, hey, this guy's questionable,
like AJ Brown.
But it's like
Lane Johnson.
Mailata
maybe,
like during
Kelsey,
during a normal week, like, all right, he's limited in practice, but he's gonna go. And then later in the week they announce, like, yeah, he's actually gonna sit. At that point, like, the Cowboys can go across 7 if they want.
Surely. So I think the AFC quarterback gets the MVP. It's Mahomes, unless Mahomes has an absolute stinker, and he just doesn't have very many of those. He needs to not only have a poor game where he's throwing picks like he did against Denver, he needs to also lose that game, right? And a loss plus picks will give people the mental room they need to make a case for Burrow or Allen, whoever wins that Monday Night Football game.
Holt, you couldn't be more right. The NFC playoff race is more interesting than the AFC, and it's wild. I got to a point where I looked at, hey, if the Packers and Lions both do this, where do they end up with for tiebreakers? And it's like, all right, they'd head-to-head would be 1-1.
Yeah.
The division record would be the same. And then literally the common opponents would both be the same. So you'd end up with the 5th tiebreaker, which is to say strength of opponent, which means take out the games you played against each other, take out the games that you played against common opponents.
In division, yeah.
Well, common opponents are in division as well.
Sure.
So you take out the all division and all common opponents, because that's not going to move anyone up or down. And you start looking at, and the Packers do have a slight lead there, but it's by like 1 percentage point of win percentage. So they would need like the Rams to keep doing well. They would need, and that's the other thing about beating a team. You lower their winning percentage slightly. So everybody, as you win, you're lowering them. And then if you put a team into a spot like the Rams, who have nothing to play for now after they lose this game, then suddenly maybe that starts going down. So Lions Packers coming to the 5th tiebreaker would be hilarious. I'd love to see that.
I love it. We're not letting anything slide tonight, guys. That was oh no, that was a face mask. That's not good. The Packers are going to get another score this quarter. Well, sorry guys, we let you down. That was my bad.
We just need some tick.
I'm definitely bringing Lacroix back.
How about
Lacroix?
I saw this too. Bosa is your defensive player of the year favorite.
Yeah. How fucking wild is that? I didn't think that was going to flip, but it makes sense.
I think it should have.
And
I think
actually,
it should be close, but he should be like plus 150.
You know what? That hurts. You know who that hurts? Shanny. Mm-hmm. If the Niners get the 2 seed, we are recognizing the fact that they have the best defense in all of football, and we are doing so by giving Nick Bosa the Defensive Player of the Year award. Shanahan, you get second vote for coach of the year after Sirianni.
This sucks. We need like a turnover now.
I know it's not good. That was a bad one. The refs have been very, very unhelpful in this third quarter total. We should look into this to see if there was a fix in.
I feel like it might be fixed.
It might be fixed against us. Yeah. Fuck, man. Yeah. Andrew's correct. When has Mahomes had a true stinker? I can't think of any off the top of my head. I mean, the second half against the Bengals in the AFC Championship game, but that wasn't a full game.
Yeah, first half versus the Niners in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I think if the Niners get the 2 seed, Bosa looks like he's going to have the sack lead just because he plays very inferior opponents on the way in. You're probably looking at a long road uphill now for Parsons. Parsons is going to need to not just do well and right the ship for the Dallas defense. He's going to have to do it himself because they're so injured in the secondary. And he's going to need to pass Bosa and sacks, which all of a sudden looks tough.
I bet J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt, you think, huh?
He had a nice game.
This is many years he was clearly the best player.
Many men.
Defense. Yeah.
Wish stuff upon me. All right. I wish you guys a happy holidays. We'll catch you on Wednesday. I guess
Go Pack, go.
It won't be Christmas before then, so we can still say Merry Christmas. But Hanukkah's gonna be like half over.
Yeah.
Pete did ask me how that was going. I don't know how to do anything except the dreidel. So gotta figure out a little more about Hanukkah.
There's 8 days and nights, Andy.
I wildly misjudged how much lamp oil I was gonna need. Feel like I'm gonna be short. But no, mentally preparing for the beef Wellington right now. Beef Wellington is like a 3-day process.
You got to. It's a week-long process just in terms of the mental preparing yourself.
Oh yeah, like it's not good. Like I have to.
Yeah, you got to work yourself up.
Oh, but you know what Costco has? Prime beef tenderloins. I'm not going to tell my wife how much I'm spending on this piece of meat because she's going to be mad about that. But Prime USDA Prime tenderloins, just big old tube steaks, guys. Let's go.
All right, man. We'll talk on Wednesday. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, I'll see you then.